When I was 13, my friends and I made bets about when we would lose our virginity. I said it would be when I was 16, because that's what I had seen on TV or read in books. So far, only one of us has lost it. When I was 16, I had a boyfriend, and he was sweet, and I think looking back on it, I probably did love him. I was absolutely convinced I was going to lose my virginity in the back of his little white Camry. In retrospect, it wouldn't have been great. His dog always sat in the back seat and there's dog hair everywhere. But that's what I thought it would be like. Sweet little fumblings in the backseat of your boyfriend's car. Maybe I was spoiled by the 50s, by the idea that you could date a whole bunch of different people and then when one of them really likes you, he'd ask you to go steady, and then you'd go and park at Lovers Lookout and one thing would lead to another, and it would just be sweet and lovely. Well, that never happened.
I lost my virginity a few weeks before my 16th birthday because I was tired of the pressures that everyone else seemed to have, and I didn't really care about it to begin with. I don't talk about losing my virginity, and I don't discuss the ins and outs of my sex life. There's a difference between hashing out all the dirty details and confidently stating what sex you like. Anyway, the important part wasn't the fact that I had sex. It was a doctor's visit afterwards, a gynecologist that wriggled out my bare minimum. As she smiled, she told me the best sex is the kind you can laugh at.
The first time I had sex, I was drunk. Not tipsy, drunk. Not because I needed to be, but because it just sort of happened. It wasn't romantic. There was no fairy tale. It happened, and I don't regret it.
You know, it's funny, but half of me is still clinging to this fantasy we get spoon-fed as preteens, that it will be romantic with rose petals and you'll just be totally in love. You know, they call it making love, but I'm not sure it's about that anymore. Maybe it never was. I'm beginning to worry that my first time is going to be awkward and uncomfortable and probably one night when I drank too much and I will barely even remember it. You know, some girls have their first times planned out so precisely. My one friend knew what song was going to be playing when she lost her virginity. Me, I've never been one of those girls. I always thought it would happen when it happens, and maybe it wouldn't be perfect, and maybe it wouldn't have to be. Maybe nice is good enough.
I have always been searching for a partner to explore with, to find the balance between owning your own pleasure and aiding another's. I discovered that the greatest sex is when lube isn't necessary. I feel bare, clean, pretty about everything spread out. I prefer it when sex isn't awkward movements or anxious assumptions, but understanding that this is two people in an act of learning. That we can map sections on another's body, pressing at this intersection and turning the movement to steady, unwavering pressure. Because sex is moment laid bare, it's a body parts last dream, it's the waiting and waiting for more clothes to shed. It is open, announcing movement. Sex is breaking my hips as if they are wishbones for the taking. It's rubbing bruises onto skin, its wetness and steam is living raw. And open sex is a window into my inner sanctum, is the cream in my coffee, and has nothing to do with my personality. But everyone always has something to say about the quiet types.
I've come to seek out that first exquisite moment of parrot sliding into place, of emptiness being filled, of something becoming more than it is. I want that moment because it's something that only sex can fulfill. It is the moment when, like Aphrodite, I am worshipped for my body, for being lost in touch and sensation, for raw power and untamed sex. And if that's all it is, that's fine. I'm okay with one night, no strings encounters. But I won't tolerate someone stepping over the line of no strings and no respect. Because there's an assumption about a woman who's okay with one night stands and her moral worth. Fuck me, but don't disrespect me. The two aren't mutually inclusive. Do not think that I am now an object to be used only when it is convenient for you. Because liking and wanting sex does not make me any less human, any less real.
Sometimes I find that others want their thoughts more than I want my own. Why can't I have the ability to choose without code signals or assumptions that I'm the type of girl that wants certain things? Too delicate, sensible, apparently naive with my big eyes and silly frank questions that make my experiences less valid and makes my life less established. As if sex brings out maturity and women are waiting to grab a partner and never let them leave the relationship they kidnapped them into. At the same time, they are kind of right. I do want things other than meaningless sex, but I want the simple things that make sex fun. Not just a matter everyone takes too seriously.
I am a virgin, and I am not ashamed of it, but a lot of the time it feels like I should be. You know, there's this idea that because I'm a virgin, I'm all innocent and naive. People think they can't talk to me about sex. Just because I haven't done it doesn't mean I don't know what it is. I'm not an idiot. Even my friends, and I know they don't mean to, but they tend to talk down to me and belittle me. There's this idea that you're not a woman or mature if you haven't had sex. And that's just not true. It's this kind of thing that makes me just want to lose it. Get it out of the way, get it over with, and then I can hang out with a guy without freaking out he's gonna want to have sex with me. Then I can talk to my friends about bad sex and not have them laugh at me and then instead take me seriously instead of changing the subject because they think it will make me uncomfortable. There's this idea that if you haven't lost it by now, you're waiting for a reason. Like you're waiting for marriage or for it to be perfect. Well, I don't speak for all virgins, but I know there are others like me. We are not pious, we are not holy. We make out with people when we feel lonely without wanting to date them. I'm not against meaningless sex. I think it's healthy. I'm not going to judge other people because they've had sex and I haven't. I'd like it if that went both ways.
I don't need romance to enjoy sex. But the other assumption lies in the idea that I don't want romance, that I'm the type of girl that's too independent for love, that somehow my 1,000-yard stare acts as a warning, approach at your own risk. But there are times when I take the perceptions of others and turn them into the monster of my mind telling me that I'm good enough to fuck but not to love.
I don't really want to lose my virginity because I'm feeling pressured that I shouldn't still be a virgin by the time I'm in university. You know, it feels like my virginity needs to be this big secret. Like it'll lower my social standing or something. I am terrified right now that all of you are making assumptions about who I am because I am telling you my deep, dark secret. I'm scared that when girls find out I'm a virgin, they'll start talking down to me. And when guys find out I'm still a virgin, they'll think, what's wrong with her? Well, the truth is there is nothing wrong with me and I don't need to be pitied. It's my choice. I'll have sex when I want to.
I wonder if I will ever be able to take social interactions for granted, so I don't have to stumble away from a smooth hand tap on my wrist asking for something to see. It's hard work being taken seriously, knowing your own self-ownership and having others recognize that grounding. I'm tired of monitoring myself because my flirtatiousness is a genuine smile. I'm fed up with people assuming that they know me. I'm afraid of sitting here and being thought of as a sex encyclopedia or a competent actor rather than a human, a girl, a woman.
This is the reality of a small school. This is the reality of a small school. There are more people here who know about my sex life than I've actually told. Tantalizing tidbits get passed around like currency, exchanging hands, exchanging lives. But these whispers make certain assumptions. I am held to a different standard than those whom I've acted with. At Quest, there's a strong sense of woman power, but it is centered around the idea that because I have a vagina, I should treat it like a temple, guard and isolate it. The idea that I'm not respecting myself, at least when it's unattached sex.
Here are 10 things I am certain about.
I want to be good.
I worry that I'm not.
One-night stands can be fun.
I am not ashamed of enjoying sex.
I don't expect to be loved.
I want to be loved.
I don't believe that love and sex are synonymous.
But what if I'm trying to make them the same?
Is this all in my head?
Are these my expectations or yours?